Hello and welcome to the Mark and Matt Show. My name is Mark, and beside me is my good buddy Matt.
What's going on?
And we're going to be doing weekly recaps on WWE RAW and SmackDown. And this is Epi 2, Season 1. And we're talking about Raw that happened yesterday, July 30th, 2018.
Probably tell him. Well, it's episode. I guess it's episode 1. We had episode. This is episode 2, but we did episode 1.
Oh yeah,
but it didn't work. Audio didn't work out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, our apologies. I don't think the audio sounded that great. And even today, we're working without electricity.
Today's going well, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a power outage right now happening in a neighborhood out here in Durham, and I so happen to live in it. And we don't have power until 3 p.m.
People don't know Durham. We're out in Toronto, outside Toronto area in Canada.
What would you say? Maybe 20 minutes east of Toronto?
Pretty much, give or take.
Yeah.
But it's a good day when we were like, hey, let's get this going. We're going to get this done early. We're going to get going with everything. And then family and you got power outage in your house.
Power is out, guys. So, you know what? We've got the AC trapped. It's a hot day. And it's been a hot summer. But we wanted to give you guys the skinny on Raw because we saw some cool stuff yesterday or last night, right?
Yeah, I didn't mind the show too much compared to last week. I think they did a little bit more storytelling and they advanced it. The stuff with Brock and Roman is always...
We'll get into it. We'll get into it for sure. I mean, let's kick it off with the way the show started. Yeah. So we saw Roman Reigns, the infamous Roman Reigns, the big dog, open the show. He came out and he's cutting promos. At least he's trying. What'd you think?
Well, Roman coming out and getting booed pretty hard.
Yeah. Fan reaction was pretty bad. Yeah.
It was awesome, as we normally expect. I'm just so tired of Roman's... I'm here every week. Brock is never here.
Yeah.
Try to cheer for me. And they're still, clearly as the episode goes on, we know that they're really pushing home the idea of Brock is never here and Roman's here every day, week in and week out. But fans are still not grabbing towards it. Like, they still booed him hard coming out and they booed him as he talked. But I don't know what you thought. When he was talking and going through his promo, the crowd would boo him, and then you get a slight cheer.
Yeah, and they're like trying to flip.
Yeah,
they want to flip, but they can't because he sucks.
I'm still not into it, dude.
But then Heyman came out, and Heyman comes out to no intro music, at least none that I can remember. There's no Brock beside him, and he's flailing with again his I am Paul Heyman, and then I think Roman pretty much shuts him up. I think even before Paul shows up, Roman says a couple funny things. Like, for example, he shows homage or pays homage to Bobby Lashley, and he respects him now. He's a hell of a worker, or whatever he says. And then, just like you said, pity party, just like he always does. He's working the hardest, right? And then, of course, the Advocate shows up. So what do you think about the exchange between Paul and Reigns in this Monday Night Raw Open?
It was pretty much what I expected. And the thing is, dude, at this point, we've seen, this is Brock Roman 4, I want to say. We've seen the storyline. This is the exact same storyline they were pushing for Mania last year going into it.
Yep.
That Roman's always here and Brock is absent.
Yep.
It just feels like let's do it again. I'm tired.
Well, hang in there, fans. I mean, it gets worse because if you're in the WWE Universe fan, you know that the backstage segments didn't do this thing any justice.
Well, they never do any justice. They're always pretty telegraphed. But the thing that I did like was Brock sitting there on the couch. And what was he reading? I took a note on it, but he was reading
The Outdoorsman.
Was he reading Outdoorsman?
He's reading The Outdoorsman, and this is you got to think about the timing of this. So Balor comes out. And with the Michael Jackson jacket and the smiling ear-to-ear gimmick, and then before his opponent Corbin makes his entrance, we see a backstage segment with Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Like you said, Brock is reading a magazine.
I wrote it down. It's Frontiersman magazine.
Was it the Frontiersman
magazine?
Yeah, and he's got the WWE Universal Championship belt strapped over the couch, and he's nonchalant reading. And Paul comes out to try to coax him to come out, and Brock says he don't watch Monday Night Raw.
I don't even watch the thing that I'm on tonight.
And then I think they smash an iPhone 6. or an iPhone 7
Yeah,
or
that was
something.
either that one or later in the night. But yeah, he smashes Paul's phone.
Smashes his phone. So hopefully he's got like a device protection on his device. If you live in Canada, that joke's for you.
I do have to tell, like, I thought it was funny that the idea of over 3 hours and 15 minutes, Brock is still reading the Frontiersman magazine for the entire show.
Did he change magazines? I don't know. We'll take it to, maybe you guys saw it different. I thought he changed magazines, but anyway, he's probably on the same page. Listen, Brock is doing what they're telling him to do. He's a good, I guess in that sense, you can maybe call him a company man because he's doing what they wanted to do, even though he rarely ever wrestles or works in the ring.
I did love that he crapped over it. He's like, I don't even watch this.
He doesn't even watch the show, yeah.
But asked later in the night, he was like, "Did you get my money, Paul?" It's like, dude, you're on a contract.
Yeah, like, what are you, paying him in Bitcoin or something? So weird. And then, okay, so let's not take away from the match.
No.
Because Balor and Corbin have a pretty good match, I thought. I mean, it was back and forth. We know that Balor had defeated Corbin at, what was it, Extreme Rules?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
So he's got one up. So we know in our heart of hearts that Corbin's got to win one, right? So we have a rubber match. We haven't seen the Demon in God knows how long. So it looks like, premonition, we're going to see the Demon versus Corbin at SummerSlam.
Now, why do you think they haven't done the Demon gimmick like at all? Because the last time they were teasing it was when he was feuding with Bray over a year ago.
Yeah.
And he was coming out as big orange pumpkin Balor.
Right.
And then Bray got sick, and then they scrapped the whole thing entirely because the storyline was garbage to begin with. But
It was, yeah.
they were going to go with Demon Balor then, and then they've, like you said, they've completely dropped it entirely. You think that they're actually going to pull it out at SummerSlam?
Well, you make me think. I mean, forget about SummerSlam. Maybe Sister Abigail can make an appearance at Evolution. At this point,
Comes out of the burnt house that Orton burned down.
anything is possible, right? Anything.
Wait,
can
Sister
happen.
Abigail was technically Bray, but it went into Bray's body, and
Hang
then
on, she is?
when they did this, they did the thing on Raw. We're going way off, but Sister Abigail was embodied into Bray, and they did a voiceover thing, and when he was facing.
The vocoder sound effect. Yeah, I remember that. It was a dark time, and I think they want us to forget that.
I think so.
Maybe, I mean, the Demon is like, a special attraction, and it's like his alter ego, even though we saw him a lot in NXT as a Demon. We're not getting it much in the main roster, and maybe because it's like a coveted special effect that you get every so often, kind of like pyrotechnics.
We never get pyro anymore.
You get it at Mania.
We barely get it.
You got it at the greatest Royal Rumble.
I missed it when we went to Raw that time. I was like, yeah, we don't get pyro.
No pyro. It's so weird when Lesnar comes out and does that arm cross thing and no fireworks.
Nothing happens. It just looks like a weird giant baby doing.
Strange. But see,
Jumping jack.
Balor's good for the budget because you just need those floodlights, and when he goes, whoa, they just brighten the lights up, and then you don't have to waste money on fireworks.
Is that literally what Finn does when he comes out?
Finn is good for the budget. Unfortunately, to me, he's not getting the push. The match was great, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, did Corbin win with the end of days?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Corbin wins with end of days at the very end.
And he went clean.
Yeah, Finn was going for coup de grace off the top rope, and then he jumped, landed, turned, and it was a huge end of days where he spun him, and he kind of spun him again and nailed him. And Corbin went clean. I thought it was good because Corbin in this role, one, he's getting a great push. I thought he was lukewarm at best when he was on SmackDown. He had the money in the bank. He lost it to Cena.
When he was grunge Corbin, I hated him, and now I love him. So it just goes to show you, if you have a good gimmick, you can turn a guy around.
He's got more on airtime than
Way
probably as
more.
much as Seth. He's
I
on
like
there.
his role.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job.
Know your role.
Do you think they're gonna put Corbin and Finn at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can see that happening, and I think that somehow they're gonna have to get the Demon involved, and I don't know what they're gonna do to bring that out. We always know when you go corporate, you can kind of cheat to win, so to speak. So and he's already way bigger than Finn, so he's gonna need that the Demon.
Do you think it's
appearance?
Because I can see that match almost like a pre-show, unfortunately, as sad as it is, or
easily.
at least second match on the card. But do you think it's a little sad or bad that someone as big as Balor, who was his first Universal Champ, now he's all the way down to fighting Baron Corbin? I mean, it does a lot for Corbin, but on Balor's side, that guy should be in the main event.
He was the first ever Universal Champion, and now he's gonna be in the pre-show at WrestleMania.
That's
so
kind of
weird.
sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I feel for him. He's got so much talent. He's so amazing in the ring, and his physique. I mean, the guy looks chiseled out of granite. He's, he looks really good. I've never seen anyone look that streamlined, and he's quick and he's fast. He's everything you want. I just think that Vince has that big man syndrome.
Yep.
Still, I think that's what it is. But that's my take on that.
Next match, you got Natty and Alicia Fox. We got Rowdy Ronda Rousey in the corner
ringside.
at ringside for Natty, and you've got Alexa Bliss, my favorite, accompanying Alicia Fox. Which every week, and they even touched on this. Rousey said this in the backstage with Angle, but every week Bliss has somebody else as like the henchman or henchwoman.
Got it.
To work with. Like it's Nia Jax or it's Mickie James. Now it's Alicia Fox.
Yeah.
Setting all these people up to work with Bliss. Basically, what we saw was the match happens. It's really not too much of anything. It was all to kind of tee up Rousey and Bliss. Yeah. We get Rousey pulls. I wrote it down here. I get really sick of two things with Rousey already.
Yeah.
One, she smiles every flipping time she comes out.
Yeah, so
and
happy, right?
So happy and glad hands the audience.
And that's the other part. So that's all you're putting all into one. Like the smiling and the high fives. To me, it's so ridiculous. Like, what are you so happy about? So what's number 2 about Ronda you don't like?
Okay, well, she does because she wears the same damn pants every time. Basically, she goes out
tight pants.
Yeah, but every time she wears them, she always has to hike them up and fix and adjust her pants. Everything she ever does. She gets slammed in the barricade last night.
Right. And
gets up and she's got to fix her pants. She chases, which is also her gimmick. Yeah. She chases the opponent around the ring. Everyone runs away from Rousey. Right. So we always get Ronda Rousey running giant strides and then fixing her pants every freaking 5 seconds. That
Mission Impossible run. Yeah. And the fixing of the pants, the wardrobe malfunction.
So I think there's 3 things. It's always the smiling, the wardrobe adjustments, and the fact that she just runs. It's like Braun. Right. Everyone runs away from Braun. Braun chases people. Rousey chases all of her opponents. But anyways.
But I will say this. You're not wrong. She's got those quirks. She runs in after the 3 count, so it looks like Natalia loses clean on this one, if I'm not mistaken. Or there was some kind of kerfuffle. There was a kerfuffle. Anyway, she gets pinned for the fruit roll up. Ronda then comes in and does a phenomenal. I mean, I always use the word phenomenal. We should just book that for AJ. She does a move, a jiu-jitsu throw on Bliss. And it's super fast. Yeah. And it looked really good. And then she did a modified F9 on Fox. I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know if this is going to be her finisher. But the move she put on Fox was so cool because she fell in the opposite way.
Is that where she went over the head, like her finisher right now? Where she flips her up like an F5?
Like Brock.
No, but she does almost a Samoan drop.
Kind of like a modified Samoan drop. Yeah. And it looked really good. It's just Fox didn't sell it. Right away she was back up. The move looked really stiff. And I was hoping Fox would have stole that move and that would have been her finish. But anyways, the numbers, proved to be too much for Ronda and Fox and
Bliss.
Bliss. Yeah, they get together and they run off scouring. But it looks like they get the best of Rousey and Natalia in this one.
Now you see the backstage. We had a ton of backstage segments. I mean, mostly Brock, but then they did the. Kurt was backstage with Rousey. She's all hot about it. And then they announced that they're doing. I'm sure it's first match Rousey versus Fox next week. Do you think that that's actually going to happen, or do you think that it's going to get kind of blown off and there's going to be some shenanigans at the very beginning that's Rousey's not even going to come out, for example? Like, do you think it's going to? They're going to save it for SummerSlam. You don't think they're going to just hot shot it on Raw?
I think that I don't know. You almost have to have a match on Raw to kind of showcase your talent a bit. Even though we've seen her in pay-per-view action, but you're not wrong. I don't think the match will end clean. I do think she'll come out and all that stuff. They'll have their intros. But something will happen in that match against her.
Do you think they'll even get to ring the bell? Like, I think she'll get to like the ramp, do her entrance, and to me, I think they're just gonna like DQ before they even start and gang up on her. And
I don't know. I'd hate for that to happen. You I would too, but match of some sort.
But it's like Brock. You don't want to see. It's special attraction. Rousey hasn't competed. Like, they haven't put her on television, and you're gonna do it against Alicia Fox.
That's my other thing. Why Alicia Fox? Is she the entry? Is she like the Dolph Ziggler of the women? Like,
but do you really want that as your first? I seriously don't think that they're gonna go through with it. I think they'll have some weird thing where they'll take out Rousey even backstage before the match happens.
Okay.
And maybe and just get it to SummerSlam because she hasn't competed in one single match. She's only done pay-per-views. Why just do it in?
It's a good point.
I think they're in Jacksonville next week or something, but
they're not even in like a major city.
Yeah,
okay. Not to knock Jacksonville. We love you, Jacksonville. Well, but you know how they treat Jacksonville, Toronto, where we're from. They usually try to water it down, right? Unfortunately, at least that's kind of my take on that. But Fox's gimmick is weird though. She's acting like a kind of a crazy person.
Yeah, she's always been doing the crazy gimmick.
That's been her gimmick. I think it's funny. I don't know. It makes me laugh. She's funny. I don't know.
It works, but
okay.
they don't give her any TV time. She comes out of nowhere once in a blue moon, and then all of a sudden she's in main storyline. She's just kind of the foil to what they're doing.
So we go to a backstage. We go backstage for Paul and Brock talking on the couch again. What's weird about this conversation is Paul is trying to get Brock to come out, but he never tells him that Angle has pretty much mandated him to come out. Otherwise, Paul Heyman would get fired. So I don't know why he's not telling him this information, but Brock seems to be really irritated now, and almost for the first time, he's actually turning on the Advocate. Mm-hmm. He turns on him. What do you think about that?
I thought the best part was that he's telling Heyman to go get him a steak and potatoes, and then he pauses and he goes, broccoli.
The part for me, he asked for a steak medium well.
Medium well.
Because we know he had that
baked potato.
Tuberculosis. What did he have again? That disease he had that almost killed him?
Tuberculosis.
It comes from raw meat or whatever. So now he's getting it well done. Like, we'll have it medium well. It was pretty funny.
But he's still reading Frontiersman.
Yeah, he's reading the Frontiersman. He's demanding steaks. It looks like, and we talked about this off air, and I want to bring it up on air, that maybe we might see Paul Heyman turn on Brock.
Yeah, I want to get that as almost we can probably do that as an entire segment. Mm-hmm. I still play with that. I mean, I think a lot of us have thought of that even last year, where you say, wow, maybe there's a rumor that Paul will team up with Roman. You finally get like a Roman heel turn, right, and he becomes the new spokesperson. Yes. I felt that this whole night, when it all ultimately led to Brock basically taking out Heyman, it really started to feel like, okay, they could do that switch. They have the opportunity to play that card if they wanted to. So maybe they're just trying to put it in there, and they can kind of plant it in fans' minds that maybe it's an option. I doubt they would do that. I don't think they would ever split them up.
Well, here's what had me excited all night. I mean, you got the monster with the case.
Braun?
Monster in the case. What's it called? Monster
in the Bank?
Monster in the Bank, just prowling that night. He could cash in any time, and he even said he would if he ever saw Brock Lesnar. So we had that dynamic going on. You also have this other dynamic where it seems like the upper echelons do not want Brock and Reigns to connect. They don't want them to touch, because that could ruin the main event. Right? So you have that dynamic going on. So it's what made it exciting is you don't know who's going to get their hands on Brock. And no one really does. So spoiler on that. And I thought that was a big miss at the end. Something could have happened there. But what were your thoughts on the conversations between Paul and Brock in the back, and how did that impact the show?
I mean, it's the most Brock has talked ever in any segment. He never talks in the ring. Yeah. We got him backstage for a full night. Like we were saying earlier today, I wish they would do old, because you and I are both huge Attitude Era fans. Shocking. And what I always loved was Monday nights, and it was always a limo pull up or a car, and a town car, and it was Vince, or it was H or DX or NWO.
Are you ready?
And you'd always have that, but it was still that momentary surprise of like, who is it? Or like when Vince would show up at the last 10 minutes of the show, get out of the limo, and announcers are going nuts, asking what's going to happen now, what's Vince going to do. I wish that they had done that with Brock tonight. I think the backstage segments told the story. They got out there that Brock doesn't like the company. He just wants his money and he wants to go home. He doesn't want to deal with Roman. But I felt like we were talking before, it might have been more effective if they had it. Heyman showed up, begging all night, doing his thing with Kurt, and then hang on, let me cut you because I just got a thought. Brock shows up in a limo, just like you're saying, right? Just like an Attitude Era. The windows are tinted, so we don't know who's in it. Brock gets out, and then Dana White gets out with him. Why not? I mean, just you know that WWE gave him the rub, because WWE. I gotta believe Vince must have signed off on at some capacity with what happened with Brock at the Cormier UFC altercation. Yeah, there's got to be something there, and they're talking so much UFC on WWE programming. I've never seen this before. Yeah, they keep saying it, like talking about UFC and bringing it up. They never talk about New Japan. They never talk about TNA. No. They never talk about WCW anymore, even though they own it. Kurt did a TNA name drop one time. Stop. Yeah, it was. He did? Yeah, I think it must have been the Raw after Mania. Okay. The Monday night. Yeah. He was talking to the guys backstage. I think he was talking to Owens and Zayn. Right. And he said, I heard TNA is hiring. That was the only time they've ever done
that's right.
one
I
line
remember
ever.
That.
It was awesome.
That was an awesome line. So going back to this story, I mean, it goes back and forth, and the whole thing is Brock doesn't want to come out because they want us to turn on Brock, and it kind of works, Matt. What did you think? The fans kind of didn't pop for him, but I guess we'll get to that.
No, I thought that it was better. It was one of the better jobs they've done with this Roman Brock thing over the last 4 flipping years. It's as good as it's going to get. I am honestly at this point, I am ready to just say, get the title off Brock and put it on Roman. Let's end this Roman experiment. Move on. Let somebody else have a shot at it. We'll talk about Braun and the Money in the Bank briefcase in a little bit, but I just want to see Roman have it. Put it on him. Let the crowd react how they always react. Get Brock off TV so we don't have to worry about him showing up, not showing up, and just kind of move on from it. Yeah. I think that's the only play that they're really going to do. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like, even though I mark out for Brock Lesnar, I'm not marking out for this new gimmick where he's never there and the belt is being held hostage. It's kind of like, how can your flagship championship not be on the show? Like, it's just weird. But Elias, changing gears, who's been on almost every show, goes to every road show. This guy's a hard worker. And case in point, they're in Miami. He shows up with a guitar, okay? And he's playing the guitar in the middle of the ring. And why I bring this up is because it's so set up for me that it feels like The Rock should make his appearance. He never does. But the fans are calling for The Rock because they're in Miami.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, he mentions The Rock.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's Miami, and he gets a little bit more heat on him. You hear a Rocky chant, which was kind of satisfying to hear because we don't get The Rock ever. I mean, when he shows up, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really almost played into, are we going to get, I thought maybe you just hear Rock's music play and get a rock bottom and off he went because you're in Miami, and it would have been easy. It would have been shocking.
Filming a movie somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it was a far-fetched, and it's good heat on Elias, which was awesome.
He also name-dropped some other people. He said that his album is beat Taylor Swift. He's beating Post Malone. And he also said that if it wasn't for Drake, no, if it wasn't for Bobby Lashley, his music would even have beaten Drake.
Yeah, so now they're going for Elias versus Lashley as a program, which, again, it's kind of standard routine for WWE these days is I'm better than guy X, Bobby Lashley, and then Lashley comes out, gives him a dominator, ends the segment, and now we have a Lashley-Elias feud over basically nothing, like no motivation.
But the fans are eating out of the palm of Elias's hands.
They love Elias.
Like when he's like, WWE stands for, and they're like, walk with Elias. And their timing is on point, and they're making every sound he wants them to make. We dig this guy. He's really cool. He's like the second coming of the Macho Man.
And they had that he looks like Macho, eh?
Something about him.
It's the beard and
the demeanor.
The
way he moves. He's got that caginess to him, and the beard and everything. He just reminds me of Macho Man. R.I.P. Macho Man, who also is from Florida, by the way. So they're in Miami, right? And it's just a really good feeling. And I was hoping to hear The Rock come out, but no dice.
Moving on to the next thing, we got Braun comes out, huge pop. He gets everyone to chant,
Braun,
get these hands. He fights Jinder Mahal. It doesn't
Shakti. I like this gimmick, Shakti. Like, what is that? Like, it's so hilarious. Again, another Toronto boy. Got to big up our buddy Jinder Mahal from Toronto, Shakti.
So within a minute, not even, the bell rings, and then we see Owens at the bottom, like sneaking around.
What a great job Owens is doing, by the way.
He's awesome.
He's great on the camera. He's great on the mic. So what does he do? He takes over the show somehow.
Yeah, Kevin Owens sneaks by ringside, grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yep.
Then
that's right. He steals the case.
And this was probably one of the highlights for me of the whole show.
Yep,
the camera work didn't grab it, which sucked. But
they still did a good job at it because they caught the Sunil Singh bump.
They just got it at the very end, but they just missed the cue a little bit. But still, so Owens runs around. He's got the briefcase, run away from Braun. Braun tosses it at Sunil Singh.
What else can you do but catch it? Because you're like a cartoon at this point.
And then it looked again. The camera missed it, so it looked like he clotheslined him basically.
Yeah, he gave him a running lariat.
Yeah, he just
like full running lariat. So we're talking about Braun Strowman against running lariat on Sunil Singh, who looks like he probably weighs 120, 130 pounds.
He hit that hard.
And these guys, the other guy's missing for a long time. Right? The Sunil Singh and there's another brother, the Singh brothers.
I forget what the other guy.
We haven't seen the other guy because these guys get pummeled.
They take too many crazy bumps, but he went hard by Braun. So that segment ends. Owens runs off.
Yeah.
Braun poses down the ring.
Braun loses, right? Due to count out.
Yeah, because he was focused on Owens too much.
So Jinder gets the win on a count out thanks to KO.
On this, we have Braun versus KO at SummerSlam for the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Right.
That's the match.
Yes.
Owens is running around backstage later on talking to Baron Corbin about the match and the briefcase and the whole title situation, and not worried that it's going to get called off if Braun cashes in and so on. What do you think is going to happen right now? Because we have out of nowhere. I mean, I know Owens has been dealing with Braun a lot before Money in the Bank and now, and they're great because I think it's good comedy.
Kevin can work with anybody.
Yeah, they both look fantastic. I could watch this for months.
Right.
But what do you think is going to happen? Is almost an early prediction. Do you think somehow Kevin Owens will win the Money in the Bank briefcase? Do you think Braun is just going to finish him and he just cashes in later that night? Like, it seems weird that they would just kind of throw that match in there just for the sake of having it.
I'm glad they did, because I love stipulation matches.
Yeah.
And I don't think we haven't seen it in a while since The Miz and his buddy there, the guy who used to mimic him all the time. I don't remember ever seeing the Damien Sandow. Thank you.
Oh.
I don't remember ever seeing a match where the case is up for grabs like that.
We had one years ago, Edge versus Mr. Kennedy on a SmackDown, I believe.
I missed Mr. Kennedy. Yeah,
This is early years ago. So Kennedy had the briefcase.
Right.
He was gonna be injured or suspended.
Got it. So
he was going to be suspended, I think, for getting roided or something similar.
Yeah.
But anyways, they needed to get the briefcase. They needed to get the briefcase off of him.
Right.
So he had a match with Edge for the briefcase, and Edge gets the briefcase and then cashes it in. So I think that was the last time they ever did it
before.
Years ago, right?
It's a cool stipulation. It sucks that you have to go through all these guys to get this case and then lose the case, but that's the stipulation he signed.
Yeah.
And KO is definitely giving up a lot of weight and a lot of strength to this guy. So I guess the question is what's going to happen. It's so interesting, right? Because if he wins, then he can cash it in at the main event.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way for them to both somehow think they won, and they both think they own the case.
So what if they did a double pin where their arms are both on each other?
Yeah, something where the KO's like, no, I won, and then the monster's like, no,
I mean, if they double
won.
DQ, then Braun still retains. It's like a title.
You have to beat him, in order to get it.
But no one's beaten Braun clean ever. No. It's always been some stiff.
Didn't Brock beat him clean once?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he beat him. Yeah, they did that in Great
RAW.
Balls of Fire.
Or in Big Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
Whatever it is they do, they better not screw this up. Kevin Owens could definitely interfere and cash in that case. I don't know if Braun should do it. A big guy shouldn't come in and try to interfere and beat a guy when he's down.
And we talked about this before. I don't know how that main event is going to play out. I am curious when we watch it.
Definitely going to watch it.
Are you going to my house or am I coming?
I don't know where we're going to watch it yet, but we definitely got to get it on the big screen and get some
Did you ever do the pay-per-views at the movie theaters when they offered that?
I've never done it in the theater. No, I've never done that. I don't know
if they offer it anymore. I think they do it like the big VIP theaters, but
maybe they don't do it anymore. We got to check Cineplex and AMC.
I mean, we both have network subscriptions. We probably shouldn't go to the theater, pay $50 to watch.
You know what I mean? And I could pause it and kind of go and take a break.
Get wings.
4, 5, 8, 9 hour show.
Are we getting wings or are we getting pizza?
We got to get both. It's a 9-hour show. Remember, we got to get 3-course meals. But we're going to definitely watch Mania, and I'm sure everyone on this listening to this podcast is absolutely going to watch it, or this syndication. May not be a podcast. Maybe you're listening to another means. But what are your thoughts, guys? What do you think's going to happen with that finish? Because KO and Braun having a match before the main event for the title case, a lot of controversy there. I don't know.
Guys, if you're going to post questions or anything, let us know on Twitter. We're at the Mark and Matt Show, and you can follow us there. We'll be posting up this episode. We're also going to have our episodes posted up on Podbean and iTunes and all of your fun places to find all your podcasts, as well as I'm going to throw it up on our YouTube channel under the Mark and Matt Show. So everything's the same, but throw your questions and comments because we want to be able to do some episodes where we can pull all of your questions and throw them on the air so Mark and I can flush out some more discussions and get your input because we want to make sure that we get all of your insights to see what do you guys think is going to actually happen. The next thing that I do want to talk about, and it was a small segment, it solidified something for me. So we had I titled it as a jobber locker room backstage segment.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was kind of jobber pull apart.
And dude, this made me sad. We have Mojo Rawley, who I think is actually really good on the mic. He's very sincere.
Yeah.
He comes across, he's
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah.
I hate his attire. He needs to be repackaged somehow. I don't know what it is, but something doesn't work.
You don't like the juicy fruit colors?
Yeah, it's not working for me. He's a running fruit roll up. Like
Well,
it's
he's supposed to be like the gimmick was built off
hype.
of his buddy there from New York, who he was also feuding with in the back there. Who's his tag team partner again? Mojo Rawley and
Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder. Thank
Yeah, and he was back there too. He was in the jobber locker room. So
Right.
the jobber locker room was the Ascension. We had the Ascension. We had Zack Ryder. I think the Fashion Police were there too. Heath Slater and Rhino were in the background. So we had and Kurt Hawkins was standing there. So we had a ton of
Hawkins
jobbers.
was there,
Mojo Rawley is addressing the jobber locker room,
Yep.
basically talking about how he's gonna beat everybody and beating everybody.
Right.
And then in walks the frame, Bobby Roode.
Yes.
And that just made me very sad.
He's in
Bobby,
the jobber locker room now. Look at that.
yeah.
How
Ew.
far are we forward?
So these guys have gone back and forth with backstage segments a little bit here and there over a few weeks. Dude, I'm sad because Bobby Roode is so freaking good. He was amazing in TNA.
I heard he was a great heel in TNA.
He was fantastic in TNA, and then he went over to NXT.
And I heard he was a great heel there too.
He was probably one of, if not the top heel when he came in. He was on top. He was NXT champ. Then he got pulled over to Maine, went to SmackDown, and they introduced him as a face.
And it's been a booking nightmare since.
They haven't done anything with him, and now he's fallen all
He's
the
just a
way down.
catchphrase. I think they even say that in the segment. They're like, you're just a catchphrase, or a catchphrase me into submission or something, I think was a quote.
So anyways, these guys brawl. Refs, backstage guys break it up. We're going to have Mojo Rawley versus Bobby Roode in probably the pre-show match of SummerSlam. And that's very, very disappointing. Bobby Roode should be, to me, he should be on SmackDown. He could be easily fighting AJ right now.
Well, he wears blue. I'm just kidding, guys. I know, I'm just kidding. It's not about what he wears. Like, it's about the way they book him, and they're booking him all wrong. And maybe it is about what he wears. In the back, he should be wearing a suit, and then when he comes up to wrestle, then he should have his robe on, right? The guy's like a future coming Ric Flair in essence.
And I hate that too. He was in the suits in NXT.
Yeah.
He looked like $1 million. He wanted to change NXT, and then he goes over to Maine, and he's just in the damn robe every freaking night. It's too much. He needs to be going heel. I hope. My only, I guess, saving grace is that if he comes out of this lackluster thing with Mojo Rawley, is that he gets disgruntled, he's down, he wants to fix it and how things are going, so he turns heel. That's the only hope I have, is that they can somehow bury him, and then he comes out of it as a heel, and then he starts coming back
I felt
up.
buried at this part of the show. Not to cut you off, but now it gets worse. Like, okay, so we had this backstage thing.
What was next?
Yeah, you forgot. It's so bad. Titus Worldwide comes out. And Titus Worldwide is just came off a win last week. And they're facing the Authors of Pain. And they win again this week. And I think they came across clean. Now, I don't want to rush it, though. Apollo Crews is so athletic. This guy is doing, like, he did the HBK kick up. He did the Owen Hart Insecurity kick. He's doing old school moves, making them look new school. He's super athletic. I just don't know anything about him, and I don't care.
Yeah, they give him no character development other than he's with Titus Worldwide.
That's it. Like, I don't care. Like, even though he's so athletic and so amazing and do anything, like, let this guy be himself and talk or something. The whole character is just, it's lost. I don't get it.
It was a quick roll up. He faced Akam from AOP and OAP. Authors of Pain, AOP, and got a quick roll up. Cruz wins, so they're going to keep going with that feud.
Yep.
Authors of Pain are another good solid tag team from NXT that came up, that did nothing. They went on. They were on main event, and again, there's not much development there. I mean, we'll see what happens. But the tag division on Raw, and this rolls into
At least they could recycle the Nation of Domination outfits.
I guess so.
Because that's what it looks like. Razor, of course, takes the rule up.
The tag division. I mean, it happens towards the end of the show with
Yeah.
B Team and Wyatt's, but they the tag division is all comedy acts on Raw. It's B Team, Wyatt and Hardy, which is the leader of worlds. It's a little more serious, I guess, but they themselves have been, they are comedic. You've got the Ascension, who have played comedic roles. You have Titus Worldwide, which is usually fun and lighthearted.
Yeah.
And then you have Authors of Pain, And the Revival. And the Revival are the only serious tag team in there, and they get jobbed out, which they got a match tonight. But anyways, that I'm not huge on the tag division. I think it's just been forgotten right now. When they shuffled the deck on the draft, nothing really good came out of it for Raw. SmackDown's tag division, I think, is pretty great overall. They've kept all the strong tag teams. They've got tons and tons of guys going over there. The Raw one, though, is just, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, the only one that I think really stands out is Dolphin and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Kind of like Shawn and Triple H kind
agree.
of feeling, right? And they come out next, and you see Drew working out with a tensor bandage in the back. And Drew's
the best.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's a super huge guy, really good worker.
Like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's just his voice, everything. He's just really on point. He's really believable.
You can just see Vince staring at him as he's doing, like, with the rubber bands and doing. He's like, yeah, oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I like. Long hair and a beard. Oh, he's a big guy.
He looks like a Game of Thrones, goddammit.
Oh, look at him.
Dolph Ziggler's got his hair straightened like Hunter Hearst Helmsley styles. Really looking like Triple H, like, emulating, just really bringing that that support character to McIntyre's destruction. McIntyre then goes on to face Seth Rollins, and I think we've seen this match before.
Yeah.
Have we not?
Yeah, we saw it. I think they were fighting last week and it got messed up, but they had the rematch, I guess, this week. I mean, it was really good. I mean, him and Braun are probably the top two faces right now in Raw. Everyone loves Seth. Burn it down. They go crazy every single time.
They beat a new T-shirt. Yeah, Seth Rollins with the Burn It Down T-shirt. Yeah, the work rate's amazing. You know, and traditionally on paper, you wouldn't like this match. They look identical. Long black hair.
It's true.
They got a goatee. They wear black and red. But like you're saying, the match was actually really entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it had a lot of high spots.
Yeah.
The suicide dive over the top rope. Drew does a ton. He's great because he's very athletic for being so big.
Is he ever, man?
He takes
So
crazy
fast.
bumps. He's very fast. Yeah. I'm waiting for when they finally unleash Drew because he's toying with Universal title, saying that I've successfully set up Dolph at this point. Now it's time for phase 2 or whatever, where he's going to start going after the Universal title. So I
wouldn't want to see that.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll have their split up with Dolph at some point. He'll break off, and maybe by Mania we see Drew probably for IC title, and then the next year I could almost see him being drafted and go to SmackDown and be right into the main event. But again, I think it depends what they do with Roman. Yeah. I think Drew is great as a foil for Roman going forward after SummerSlam.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that you follow NXT and you may be following Drew more than I have. Is he called the Terminator?
No, what?
Okay, because like in the middle of the match, your good buddy Michael Cole, your friend and mine,
Big Dog,
the Big Dog. This time he's talking about Drew, and he's like, "Oh, today, like Drew, the real Terminator's birthday is today." And he says talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's birthday, and he's a WWE Hall of Famer.
I hope they don't give him the name of the Terminator.
I don't know. I thought that was, but it was cool. It was a cool thing to shout out. It's just, it would have been nice to have Arnold there. I mean, it's his birthday, and he's a WWE Hall of Famer. It would have been really cool. They're in Miami. It would have been awesome.
When we get Trump in there too, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, you struck a nerve there.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, isn't he, Donald Trump?
Yeah,
that's really cool.
He's in their Hall of Fame.
You could probably see him at Mania. Who knows? I mean, this could be a political event.
So, anyways, Seth gets knocked out by Ziggler. Ziggler breaks up the match and goes DQ finish. Ziggler gets involved. Suicide dive outside by Seth. Seth wins with the DQ. Probably a rematch for next week, but it is set up so that it's going to be Seth versus Dolph at SummerSlam. We'll probably do in our predictions later. Well, we got 3 weeks until SummerSlam. So we'll probably do a predictions episode the week before.
What kind of match would you make if you were the booker? What would you set up for the
ladder match?
Ladder match, eh? Okay.
Two of them. Dolph is much more like HBK in his style. They can both do high flying, crazy spots.
Yeah.
The straight up ladder match would be entertaining and it would break up probably the flow of the show because we're probably going to see a lot of tag matches and a lot of singles matches.
Good call.
It'd be nice to see them just throw the belt up at the top. You ban Drew from ringside.
Yep.
Or you can have him there and just
have a classic WrestleMania ladder match.
Yep. And you have like what's the equivalent, I guess? I was going to say Razor and Shawn at 10. or whatever Mania was, I think 10. But you can have a real classic ladder match between those two guys. So I vote ladder. You?
I can already see the highlights of a ladder match between those two guys. To say that Dolph is like AAA or HBK is
well, he
almost
mimics his style, and he does the
sure,
super kick and he tees it up.
100%. But so does Seth. Seth has a lot of those HBK undertones too. We've seen this match before, so they got to put a stipulation in. A ladder match, I would vote for. I'd vote yes on a ladder match.
Next up, we have a quick little Roman Reigns segment backstage with what's his title? It's Corbin's title again. I always want to say the commish, but he's not the commish.
Is that Commissioner Corbin?
No, it's
Constable Corbin. There you go. Constable Corbin. Excuse me, guys.
So we love Constable Corbin because he's such a dolt.
Yeah, but I like.
But he's awesome. He's great.
Yeah,
I love his character.
The tight pants. I don't know how he moves in those pants.
I do not know how he gets around. But anyway,
modified shoes.
We have Roman Reigns in his dressing room of sorts.
Yeah.
I was checking in and out at this point. I quit.
It was late.
Yeah, I was getting later and I was getting tired, but I watched this, and so Kurt comes in and basically tells Roman that he needs to leave the building, and he brings the cops in.
Yeah, he brings the cops. They go into the back
room.
Corbin
does.
Yeah, the cops show up. Corbin actually puts a nail in the coffin and says, no, you got to get out.
Yeah.
And then they actually have a good spot, kind of. I was wishing it would be more of a Superman punch, but Roman kind of...
hit.
It was a good hit. Yeah, Roman looks him up and down, and then he punches Constable Corbin, or he gives him one of those slap punches type of things.
And that's the last we see of Roman for the night. Do you think does anything? Because usually with that, you have them come back at the end of the night. Which
the old Stone Cold.
The old Stone Cold comes in, beats down security, gets in the ring. But do you think he's just going to show up next week at the opening segment?
Why didn't we get that though? Like, we got Brock in the middle of the ring. He F9's angle. I don't know if you got this. Is that what it's called?
F5.
F5. Sorry. Who does the F9? Nobody.
Nobody does an F9.
There's no such thing as an F9.
F9 is just if he keeps spinning in the air.
Keep spinning. Keep twirling him. But yeah, so whatever. He does his finisher. And Angle goes down, rightfully so. He doesn't move. That's the right thing to do. Sell the move. Don't move. Just stay down. And then I'm hoping to see Reigns come out and maybe some security guards behind him, and he beats them up. And then, of course, Braun Strowman, also in the mix, who's there that night. He was there, wasn't he?
Braun was dealing with KO, right? He was fighting Jinder earlier in the night.
So we should have seen him come out to try to cash in. We should have had a more of a kerfuffle in the end. And
I think so. But we'll see what happens next week, right? We got Brock. I don't know if...
We got 3 weeks left.
We got 3 weeks, and I haven't looked to see if Brock is scheduled for any more dates. He's got to probably be coming on the go-home for SummerSlam, you imagine?
You would imagine he's there for at least one more Raw, and the go-home would make the most amount of sense.
So probably next week, we're going to get Roman versus Corbin to get some redemption.
Roman versus Corbin. Yeah, that's
right?
actually a good call.
He got banned by Corbin.
Yeah.
Angle sets it up, so we probably are going to see that. I wouldn't be surprised.
True.
Next up, guys, we have we're almost towards the end of the night. This is where, after that Roman segment, I really started to get tired, and the show started to drag a little bit because I felt like it was filler matches. The Seth Ziggler match was around 10 our time, so there's an hour left. 45 minutes left in the show.
Raw ran long.
And it started to feel long now, and we had filler. So we had B Team versus the Eater or the Deleters of Worlds. And long story short, B Team's in the ring. Wyatt, Hardy come out. They promo back and forth. Then the Revival come in as well. They promo back, and they all want to go after tag titles. We end up having the tag match between Hardy and Wyatt versus the Revival. Good match. It was fine, just a standard tag, but the Revival though wins by using the Shatter Machine, which is just like the Jericho's move, but when they lift them up and throw it. Yeah, it was good. It was fine, but I think now we're gonna see B Team versus Revival, or maybe even a triple threat tag at SummerSlam.
You liking the B Team?
Yeah, they're fine. They haven't had enough story development, I feel like. It's been comedy. That's fine. That's their gimmick.
Yeah.
But their whole thing is that they are the B team, that they don't win, and then they won the titles, and they're on this winning streak.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point they need to have a tipping point where their confidence goes up, where they're like, we're an actual credible team. They get over the whole, I'm surprised we're winning.
This is the part where I'm supposed to tell you that Raw is brought to you by Sonic. Sonic Burgers, guys.
You saw that too?
Yeah, hedgehog meat for everybody.
How many times do you see that? Because I counted 4.
Yeah, so Sonic is not in Canada, so now I want to eat Sonic. I don't know what that is, but whatever. A hedgehog burger.
Burger place.
Is it? Okay, It's kind of like a White Castle? Same
Yeah,
gimmick?
it's a fast food.
It's a good drive.
You haven't been to Sonic in the States?
I think I went there once as a kid, really, really, really young though, maybe many years ago.
All right.
But what's funny here is we see a Sonic commercial with a Mr. Perfect. Did you see this?
What?
Yeah,
No.
there's a Mr. Perfect commercial, and it's Kurt Hennig, and it's the Mr. Perfect music, and it's just him, and it's some of his promo work, and then
What?
And they cut to Sonic, and then they come back into Raw. I swear, it's
Are
on.
you
it's,
serious? I
It's
did
on my
not
PVR.
see that at
they
all.
just dropped it, and it was interesting. And I thought, how interesting is it that they have this Kurt Hennig promo and this B Team guy, his son, on there? Maybe we might see something else happen. I don't know, or maybe it was just one of those advertising things that they decided.
I didn't see that at all. I saw like 4 Sonic ads in 10 minutes.
The last one had a Mr. Perfect component to it, which was
Weird.
really, really interesting. But anyways, enough about the commercials.
Next up, we had we had back-to-back tag matches. So there was a Ziggler beatdown in the back real quick. So Seth is getting interviewed in the back after his match. Barely starts talking, and then Ziggler and Drew do a beatdown. So that's still going to go on, obviously. Then they switch over, and we have Riot Squad versus...
I'm sorry, hang on, man. I missed that part. Who got beat down?
Seth did by Ziggler and Drew backstage.
Oh, okay.
Seth was doing an interview.
Okay.
And lasted 5 seconds, and they beat him down.
So I missed that part, but that's good. That's interesting. Some backstage shenanigans.
Ton of tag matches and a ton of backstage. So then we have Riot Squad versus Bailey and Sasha. Sasha and Bailey win.
Yeah, and they look like a tag team
They
now.
actually dress like a tag team.
They dress the same.
It's going to get... I'm still betting on them doing women's tag titles at Evolution pay-per-view.
Yeah.
For the Revolution of the Evolution.
It's going to be it's going to be an evolution of a revolution. 50 women. It's going to be a big mashup. We're going to have a Rumble style match, a bunch of tag teams, and Ronda Rousey is going to come out on top.
She's going to win everything. All the belts.
I predict such. Yes.
Do you think they're going to do Sasha and Bailey breakup? Because this story's been going on way too long.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, they're getting together to break up, right? That's the whole point.
I guess.
And the breakup has to happen in 3 Raws from now.
Do you think that they're going to have a match at SummerSlam against each other? Because they're not showing any signs of them breaking up, other than it's just like Bailey turned on Sasha.
Yep.
Said to her, "You ain't shit."
You ain't shit. And the T-shirt went viral.
That was amazing. I want that T-shirt. And then they went to counseling for an episode.
Right.
They make up. They buddy in a cringeworthy segment, and now they're just tag partners.
Yeah.
Fighting basically the jobbers or lower. Like there's no tag division. Like it feels like they're trying to build.
Yeah.
Like they want to do the
October.
tag titles.
Yeah.
They want to put a tag division together. So it feels like let's slap them back together.
Yeah.
They're working together. They are dressed alike. It all feels like they're leading towards it, and they want to have strong babyface tag teams. Tag team to
If you
win
want to
those
have a
titles.
whole pay-per-view with just women, you got to have character development.
Yeah.
You got to have these things.
And you need tag titles because, like you said to me before, you're like, man, it's going to be just tag matches. Like there are all those. We'll talk about the Evolution pay-per-view later, but they have a ton of title matches.
Yeah.
But you're talking like 5 or 6. The rest is what? Tournament, battle royale. You probably
Hard to
need
book.
it. You need to book a tag title match or something. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll do the Evolution pay-per-view later. Last thing on the night was, I believe after this, it just came down to Brock.
Yep.
Brock, Heyman, Angle, Corbin.
Yes.
Brock comes out, so Kurt's in the ring with Corbin, which is hilarious to me that Corbin's just standing there. He's just Steph's proxy.
Yeah,
and he just involved in everything. Like that dude is in every segment now.
He's just a proxy, but he's there.
So they come out. Kurt's asking for Brock to come out, or else strip him of the title, or all the shenanigans. Heyman comes out, starts begging. Heyman was basically grabbed by Brock, and Brock's kind of turning on Heyman is what they're pushing for the storyline thread. So Heyman's doing his normal shtick of trying to beg for his job and plead with Kurt.
Just to back up a little bit, did the fans pop for Brock when he came out? What did you guys hear? Because I heard a bit of cheers and then a lot more boos, I thought.
Yeah, Miami was a little weird like that. I felt it was kind of back and forth. They
cheer who they boo and they boo who they cheer. That whole thing.
That's how it is when they're here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little bit of cheer for that initial pop of Brock coming out, but then from there, I think they booed him.
Yes.
They finally did.
They finally did.
So anyways, they go back and forth. Brock gets in Kurt's face.
You got a problem with me?
You got a problem with me? And then picks up Kurt. Kurt takes an F5.
Scoops him up real quick. F5, not F9, everybody.
Scoops him up, F5 to Kurt.
Yeah.
Stare down to Corbin. Corbin exits the ring slowly, backs off, and then it turns his attention to Heyman.
Yes.
And he grabs Heyman by the face and the cheeks, and he pushes him down to the ground.
Yep.
Heyman does a good job of selling it.
And then the fans start chanting, "We want Roman."
Yeah,
At least I thought that's what I heard.
well, okay, so I heard both. I heard we want Roman, and then I hear we want Roman sucks. But do you think they piped up that crowd, that part of the crowd?
I think so much. The audio seemed to be so. They were turning so fast, right?
Yeah.
Like in 3 hours, they went from booing Reigns to wanting him, and I don't know, man. That's like the Goldberg chant, you know?
And it did, but there was a moment in there where he took down Heyman.
Yes.
Or right after he hit Kurt, I can't remember. And then you hear the crowd saying, "We want Roman."
Mm-hmm.
Brock gives kind of a look to the crowd, kind of like he was looking around to see how they were reacting, just for a second. Right. And then you hear Roman sucks, but it felt like they may have turned up the volume on those fans. I don't know, but that was the end of Raw.
Good point. What you maybe think about is if Roman comes out. And even if he comes out with beating up security guards and he's breaking like the shackles off and he's coming out of a dark padded room that they were holding him in hot. Even if he does all these things and the fans still boo him, the whole thing doesn't work. So it's almost better if he doesn't show up. Yeah,
keep him off TV a little bit. Yeah. Make Brock go a little bit more of a heel. So that was Brock walks out on his own. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the end of Raw?
It was all right. I would have liked to see something different. I know that Reigns and Brock shouldn't touch because I get it. They should have that mystique, right?
But we've done
we've seen it 4 times. I know.
And they've done that angle where they're not going to do it and they do a pull apart and they do the
pull apart, which we know we're going to get a pull apart. We're 3 Raws away.
We're going to get the title pull apart.
We're going to get something pulling
the struggle
apart. It's going to be a roll up pull apart.
Give me your title.
But the Beast should have, not the Beast, sorry, the Monster. The Monster should have came out versus the Beast. We should have seen that, man. And it didn't happen.
It would have been nice. I said to you before, it would have been nice to have Braun. Maybe they'll do it at SummerSlam, but it would be nice to have a moment where they cross paths in the back, just quick stare down, anything. Just they brush each other. Yeah. Something to kind of tease and plant a seed that maybe Braun cashes in.
Yep. None of that.
I would have wanted to do. Maybe they got 3 weeks. Who knows what they're going to do? But Brock's not going to be there. I don't imagine until they go home. I think it'll be fine. I'm still going for Reigns is going to win. And I kind of hope almost at this point. They've got me hooked into the point where I'm like, I just want him to win it so that we can stop and we can move on. And maybe it'll be Braun versus Roman or Roman versus Drew or Seth or I don't know, anybody other than Brock and let Brock go to UFC.
Get a broomstick.
But I do feel that they're doing, they keep throwing that narrative of, with Heyman, of Brock being a dual company champ where he's going to have the UFC title and the Universal title.
Strap, yeah.
And I think they want that.
No, but we don't want that. The fans don't want that. I don't know. That's not fun. But Raw ends the way it ends. We can't do anything about it. It could have been a lot worse. It didn't end terribly. I just thought that they left some fruit hanging there. And now we're going into SmackDown tonight. Yeah. And we'll see where that goes.
SmackDown's usually better.
Well, shorter
2-hour show
seems to be tighter. I mean, it's you didn't know. I got less time to make a show here. So, anyways, short story long. It wasn't a terrible Raw. And we keep saying it. We got 3 Raws until SummerSlam. So we are getting close to the big event in the summer, and we're still stoked and we're excited. And we got to change gears now to what?
We're gonna wrap it up, and I want to go through and ask you. So. Segment of the night. What do you think it was?
Segment of the night for me, most memorably, would be, even though I didn't love the finish, it was Brock at the end. It's just the most memorable for me. Yeah. Even though I didn't love it.
Yeah. I'd probably say Brock. Yeah. Pepper throughout the night was probably
because they made it that way though. Like they kept hinting it. They built to it. So they built to it, and it was the segment of the night.
Yeah. Promo of the night.
Favorite promo of the night. Man. What did we see? Whose promos were good? I mean, it's definitely not Reigns, unless you say that.
There really wasn't. I mean, Reigns was the beginning. I'd say Elias.
Yeah.
He did the sing-along with Bobby.
No question, yeah. The fans were, like I said, eating on the palm of his hands. Yeah. That's right. That's the best promo. When the fans are reacting the way you want, then that's what a promo is supposed to achieve.
Best acting. We always like throwing that one in.
Best acting that we saw? Brock pretending to read the magazine.
Thank you. Yeah, because you know what I noticed was Brock reading it from back to front.
Back to front. Yeah, he spent time in Japan, right? No.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know what that was.
And he just kept reading it for 3 hours and 15 minutes. He kept reading that damn magazine. Worst match of the night for you?
Worst match of the night would have to have been the Eater of Worlds versus whoever they
Revival?
faced. Revival, just because it didn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's inconsequential.
Matt's so funny though. Matt Hardy's hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
His promos are funny.
Dude, they got to do more of the compound gimmicks. They like when they go to the Hardy compound and film it. Like bring the B team there and let them go off and pre-tape some stuff for Raw after Raw.
Broken.
Yeah, like give me something like that. That'll be so much better than what we're getting right now.
Who was the best dressed this week or on Raw?
I just go with Alexa Bliss every time.
Alexa Bliss.
She wasn't even really involved, but
she looked great.
No,
she did look really great this time. So
booty.
yeah, so sweep it, Alexa Bliss for sure.
I haven't heard any rumors or anything because we just were recording this just right after Raw.
Oh, hang on. Going back to best dressed.
Yeah.
There were a couple fans I want to shout out. One guy dressed just like Hollywood Hogan. We saw a good shot of him during the Balor match. I know you didn't catch it.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one.
I'm watching it in HD, and I saw this guy come. He looked just like Hollywood Brawler.
Did he have the dyed?
He had the dye. He had the boa. He had like blue in his hair, but mostly white, but a little bit of blue in the back for some reason. He looked like a modern day Hollywood Hogan.
I gotta go catch that.
Yeah, and there was another guy just like the Miz that I thought was really well dressed. In fact, rumors. I didn't hear many rumors. I know that we had a couple people pass away. 3 people pass away. So R.I.P.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible this week in WWE news. I mean, Jerry Lawler's son. These aren't rumors. This is fact. This is such a dark industry, and mental health being a major topic that's coming up in news right now. Maybe another piece of subject matter just to bring up some of the struggles and some of the negative things that most podcasts tend to kind of skirt around. I mean, we lose a lot of wrestling talent early, and it's super sad.
Yeah, that was a hard week. I don't want to end it on a
We can't end on a down note.
So what do you think is going to happen? Anything for SmackDown for yourself?
SmackDown live.
We got
You guys
SmackDown-
heard this? SmackDown's live now. You heard this, right?
No, stop.
It's live.
Shut up.
Refresh my memory. What's going on over there?
The biggest piece that I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop is Joe versus AJ and where they're going with that, and Randy Orton's heel turn.
All good things. I think that you got a great match in Seth. I mean, sorry, not Seth. In
Joe.
Joe is just like I think we said last week. I love Joe.
Yeah,
love Joe.
best talker.
Best talker, and he's so fast.
Just like we talked about before, I'm always bummed that the WWE title is not main eventing any match. I get it for SummerSlam, but
So weird.
all the other B pay-per-views, the smaller pay-per-views, anything like they're not going on last, and they definitely should, because the AJ Joe match, I am so excited for. Those guys tore it up in TNA. They are some of the best in the world, so I can't wait to see what they do. So guys,
Yeah, I think Joss will be on the ground for sure. Mine will be. I can't
Definitely.
wait to see that match.
anyways, guys, so that's our show. That is episode 1 of the Mark and Matt show. Hope you enjoyed it. Mark and I will be tuning in every single week, coming you with Raw recaps, SmackDown recaps, the pay-per-views, obviously. We are also going to be doing just all over our Twitter, and you can check us out at the Mark and Matt show on YouTube, on Twitter, SoundCloud, Podbean, and iTunes as well. And we'll get those episodes out for you. Send in your comments and your questions, and let us know what you guys think. So, till next time.
Take care, guys. Subscribe.
All right, calm down.
We'll hear from us.
Bye, guys.